July 30th, 2021. The Toronto Blue Jays are hosting the Kansas City Royals at Rogers Center. What makes this game so special? Well, for the first time in nearly 2 years, the Blue Jays are able to play in their home stadium in Toronto. Due to Canada's pandemic protocols, the Blue Jays played in different home stadiums in 2020 and 2021, but they were finally back, beating the Royals in the process. On the same day, the Blue Jays traded for one of the best starting pitchers on the trade market, Jose Barrios. But why would a fourth-place team, a team barely over 500, make a playoff push? Well, they were only 4.5 games behind in the wildcard race, and if analytics are to be believed, the Blue Jays were simply underperforming, or even unlucky. The Blue Jays were 52-48, but their Pythagorean win-loss percentage shows they should have 7 to 8 more wins, which would place them with the 4th best record in the American League. What were the Blue Jays doing wrong? To summarize, the 2021 Blue Jays deserved better.
1-0, and Gurriel trying to capitalize. A long way to left for a grand slam. Fastball hit high and deep to left field, and the Blue Jays win it.
The Blue Jays lost in the wildcard series in 2020 and reached consecutive ALCSs in 2015 and 2016. Before that, the Blue Jays hadn't been to the playoffs in over 20 years. Despite numerous 80-plus win seasons, the Blue Jays seemed to be in a constant state of rebuilding. What I've come to learn with rebuilds is every good rebuild needs a plan, but every successful rebuild needs luck. On paper, you can have one of the best rosters in the league, but if everything doesn't fall into place, you can never win. After the Blue Jays' playoff run in 2016, their farm system was stretched pretty thin. With the core of their lineup featuring many 30-plus-year-old players, the Blue Jays needed to retool their organization. At the beginning of 2017, the Blue Jays system was ranked in the bottom half of the league. In just 1 year, their system was in the top 10. Headlined by top prospects Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette, the Blue Jays were developing a blueprint for the future, which finally came together in 2020 as they earned a wildcard spot. Despite being swept out of the playoffs, the championship window had finally opened. Real quick, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Fetch Rewards. Fetch is a super easy to use free app that allows you to earn rewards wherever you shop. From nationwide retailers to small businesses, it doesn't matter. If you have the receipt, you earn points when you scan it with Fetch. Recently, I went to Dick's Sporting Goods and bought a Padres t-shirt. All I did was keep the receipt, scanned it with the in-app camera, and just like that, I earned some points. However, maybe you don't want to buy a shirt or jersey in store. No problem. You can use Fetch for online purchases too. All you do is press this blue e-receipt button, and the app not only scans your email for recent purchases, but your Amazon account as well. After it's done scanning, you get some points. So when you get these points, what do you do with them? Well, points are traded for gift cards to companies like Nike, Adidas, Fanatics, StubHub, and much more. Yes, the MLB lockout has been long and frustrating, but that shouldn't stop you from getting some of your favorite team's gear. And Fetch makes it easier for you to earn some extra cash towards some new gear. To get started today, use the sign-up link in the description for an extra 3,000 points from me. Make sure to enter the code STORM when you scan your first receipt. Thank you, Fetch Rewards, for sponsoring this video. Prior to the 2021 season, the Blue Jays were predicted to be just a notch behind the Yankees in terms of talent, but they had enough to earn a wildcard spot. They made significant moves prior to the 2021 season, including a 6-year deal for free agent outfielder George Springer and a 1-year deal for potential bounce-back candidate Marcus Semien. Remember when I said successful rebuilds need a bit of luck? Well, signing Semien for 1 year in hopes for a career resurgence is an example of this. Unfortunately, Semien's first month was underwhelming, and George Springer only played 2 games due to injury. After a couple more games, Springer was right back on the injured list. Although there were plenty of players who started off the season well. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had finally come into his own as he was arguably the hottest hitter in baseball. Bo Bichette, Robbie Ray, and Hyunjin Ryu were playing well too. But as they sat with a record at 500, started, there was lots of room for improvement. Fast forward to the All-Star break, and their situation wasn't much different. Barely above 500, well behind the division lead, but in the hunt for a wildcard spot. However, unlike a couple months prior, the lineup was playing really well, and with Springer finally back in the lineup, the Blue Jays could finally catch up in the playoff hunt. However, even with 4 All-Stars, the team needed reinforcements at the trade deadline, mainly in the pitching department. We already know they traded for Jose Barrios, but given their records in extra inning and one-run games, they also needed bullpen help. On deadline day, they acquired Joaquin Soria and Brad Hand after trading for Trevor Richards and Adam Simber a few weeks earlier. This team addressed their needs. Now it's about results. At the beginning of September, the Blue Jays finally put together a winning streak, winning 12 of their first 13 games, including a 4-game sweep of the Yankees. The odds of the Blue Jays making up 9.5 games on the Yankees in this 16-game span at this point in the season was 0.5%, according to Ben Clemens of Fangraphs. In that 16-game span, the Blue Jays not only went on a huge hot streak, their wildcard opponents all played poorly. Luck was finally on the Blue Jays' side, but it didn't last long. After losing a series to the Rays with 10 games left in the season, the pressure was back on, which created a messy scenario for the last few games of the year. The Yankees had a 2-game lead for one playoff spot, while the Blue Jays were deadlocked with the Red Sox and red-hot Mariners for the final spot. The Blue Jays by far had the easiest final series as they faced the 52-win Orioles. The Blue Jays won Game 1, as did the Red Sox, while the Yankees and Mariners lost. The following day, the Blue Jays and Red Sox won again, but this time the Mariners came back against the Angels to make Game 162 very interesting. To summarize, the Blue Jays needed to win, and at least 2 teams in the wildcard race needed to lose. The Blue Jays won their final game, but they still needed a miracle.
And that will do it. The Blue Jays did what they had to do this afternoon. They pick up the win. They're going to head underneath into the clubhouse and watch the Red Sox game like everybody else.
Line drive. Here comes Wade. Here's the throw. He's safe. And the Yankees walk off into the postseason.
There's a shot. That one driven to center field. Backing up. It's gone. Home run. Breaking ball struck him out, and the Red Sox have won the top wild card position.
Heartbreak. The Blue Jays did everything right, only to be left out due to a walk-off and a go-ahead home run. This 91-win team ended the year 4th in their division. It just wasn't their year, at least in terms of results. The Blue Jays ended the year with an expected record of 99-63, more than 10 games higher than every other team in the wildcard race. Toronto's run difference was the 3rd highest in the American League and the 5th highest in baseball. Their team stats were incredible, especially on the hitting side. Robbie Ray ended the season as a Cy Young Award winner, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Marcus Semien finished 2nd and 3rd in AL MVP voting, respectively. With the Blue Jays having one of the best cores in baseball, why did this team not make the playoffs? Well, their playoff odds were constantly in flux, as they could never put together a significant winning streak until the end of the season. Compare this to a team like the Boston Red Sox, who began the season with worse playoff odds, but consistently had an upward trajectory throughout the season, unlike the Blue Jays, who had problems finishing games all season. Despite focusing on the bullpen at the trade deadline, the Blue Jays were 15-15 in one-run games and 3-9 in extra inning games, records much worse than their wildcard adversaries. Take the Mariners, for example, a team who thrived in high-leverage situations. The clutch metric by Fangraphs aims to calculate a player or team's clutchness by calculating how they perform in high-leverage situations. Most rank between -1 and 1, the difference between poor and great on the scale. The 2021 Mariners batting clutch score was 8.71, which not only led the majors, it made them the most clutch team in modern baseball history. The rest of the teams in the wildcard race ranked between 5th and 7th. Take a guess where the Blue Jays were. Yeah, This team was among the best in exit velocity, barrel rate, and hard hit rate, but they couldn't finish when it mattered. Comparing the Blue Jays team leverage stats to their wildcard opponents, it's clear the Blue Jays performed worse in high leverage situations, a pattern much different than league average. As for pitching, the Blue Jays finished in the bottom half of the league in opponent barrel percentage and hard hit percentage. Interestingly, among this group, the Blue Jays were the only team with an ERA under 4. The relievers weren't significantly worse than the starting pitchers, but the ERA difference was significant enough, hence why the Blue Jays played poorly in one-run games and extra inning games. Also, compared to other playoff teams, the amount of one-run games and extra inning games the Blue Jays were involved in was low. It seemed the Blue Jays were usually on the right side of a blowout, as they were 31-15 in games where the lead was more than 5 runs. However, in games decided by 6 or less runs, the Blue Jays were 69-69, with their run differential being -1. In games decided by 7 or more runs, the Blue Jays were 22-2 with a run differential of +184. The entirety of the Blue Jays' run differential, which says they should be a 99-win team, comes from blowout wins. The bullpen holds some of this blame, given their unreliability for much of the season. However, there's another aspect that's worth mentioning: the constant moving of home stadiums. In 2021, the Blue Jays had 3 home stadiums, and it's evident that the security of one home stadium in the last couple months of the season allowed the team to showcase their true potential. This is something Bo Bichette and George Springer touched on, with Springer saying having to constantly think about where your family is going to stay can be mentally draining. While Bichette says this is not an excuse, understandably, players may have more on their mind than meets the eye. You can't predict how your home stadium will be affected by world issues, just like you can't predict when injuries are going to occur. The Blue Jays were one of the teams affected most by injuries. George Springer missed half the season, and I'm sure the Blue Jays would have loved to have a 5+ WAR player on their team for the entire season, but it just wasn't meant to be. The 2021 Blue Jays were an anomaly. Not only did they have lots to deal with from a logistics standpoint, but analytics said they were consistently getting results not in tune with expected outcome. However, at the end of the day, expected outcomes don't matter in playoff races. The Blue Jays didn't perform in situations when it counted, and it ultimately cost them. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you can't feel sorry for them. Even with all of their faults, they were in the wildcard race for most of the season, entered the year's final few games with a chance for a playoff spot, and swept their final series opponents, only to end the year in 4th place and no playoff spot because of a walk-off single and go-ahead home run. All this team can do is learn from their mistakes. It sucks that Robbie Ray is gone, but Kevin Gausman is a more than capable replacement. Finding a replacement for Semien will be tougher and possibly unattainable, but the offense has clearly shown its worth. For now, all they can do is learn from this experience and move on to next season. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks for watching.